have the channel 3828. It is the channel of struggle or the design of stubbornness. And so gate 38 is opposition, or the gate of the fighter, and it's a root gate. And then gate 28 is preponderance of the great, or the gate of the great game player, and it's a splenic gate. So the root is the brown square at the bottom, and then the spleen is that brown triangle off to the side. And 3828 is about the struggle to find meaning and purpose for living, and it's the capacity to find meaning and purpose within life struggles. So gate 28 brings the awareness of the struggle's appropriateness and discerning what has value, what actually is worth fighting for. And then gate 38 is the pressure to preserve individual integrity, and it's fighting against, opposed to outside forces that are distracting from the true self.
As with all individual definition, this channel is much more than any of them, with maybe one or two exceptions, says, don't try to influence me. I'm struggling for a purpose. And that in that opposition is to outside forces. It's not just to what's, stupid. It's opposition to stupidity too, for itself. It's like, that's no good for me. It will oppose. But it's opposition to just influence in general, to keep itself pure, so that if the struggle in this unique individual way gets polluted with other people's stuff, you know how that goes. Took on too many opinions of someone else. Next thing you know, you didn't follow your own self.
Mm-hmm.
This is designed to follow one's own self very much so. 28 says, not only do I fight for a purpose, but I'm willing to take risk. The more I've come to some kind of awareness that maybe life isn't fulfilling my purpose. So a lot will come out of this. And then a lot of mundane stuff will come out of this. That fighter is just so busy trying to get the one thing that will give it some kind of meaning making, that they forget everything. Everything's a struggle to them. What do you want to eat? Struggle. What do you think? Struggle for just to give your own opinion sometimes. And so it's a very particular way that these people will be, and we need it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really interesting because like 28 in the gate of struggle, it can sound really like womp womp, like it can sound really heavy if you have that, but yeah, it's not. I really like the line of like the gate of the great game player. Life is a game, and you got to have something worth fighting for. You get so bored so easily if a game is too simple and you just beating it right away. You're like, I don't even want to play this because it's not challenging. Like if you're an athlete and you're like an NBA or an NFL pro, you don't really want to play against the junior high varsity game. It's not challenging. It needs to have that bit of a oomph and something that you do have a dream, and a dream worth fighting for. So it's really an interesting way to reframe it, because I know it can, some of the human design gates have some pretty intense names that can be a little off-putting. But if you dig a little deeper, like humans are built to challenge and struggle. We're literally wired for it. And if we don't have something to challenge and struggle and push against, we'll create it. We'll create crazy stuff to fight against that doesn't even matter if our lives are too easy.
Totally. And this challenging of 38 is, I guess it's similar to all the three gates on this side of the root center, the 54, 58, and this 38. They make some kind of a challenge. Just like on the other side, it does some kind of a provocation. And, the challenge of 58 isn't even necessarily challenging, although it becomes an energy to challenge in gate 18.
Mm-hmm.
But 38 is to challenge this own internal thing. I mean, look where it goes. It ends up leading into so many different definitions, right? Because 57 breaks out into 3 different channels.
Mm-hmm.
So one of those things it breaks into is centering. This is a self-centered way to follow your own meaning making and help get you to your own convictions. And it can be deaf if you've got a partner with this. They're very often they just not quite hearing the thing you're saying, and that means you got to wait a little bit. If these people try and cross the street and something's coming, pull them back. But the thing is, they might be really annoyed at you for interfering with their particular struggle, So just understand the struggle is the fight for the purpose that is very happy to be creative, mutative, outside of its melancholy, and not have to fight nearly as hard. That's really what it teaches us. We ultimately find, we don't have to fight so hard anymore. The purpose is there. And so this is a great movement for humanity's consciousness.
Oh, lovely. That
Mm-hmm.
really ties it together nicely.